Hello everyone and welcome to the Sports Sit-Down, the last show of 2019, unfortunately. We have a lot to get to today with full slate with the NFL, MLB, and the NBA. All three leagues have just ended / are going on. Today I'm joined by Nate Martin and Kieran Costa, and I'm your host, Sunay Sangani. First, let's stay local with the Golden State Warriors. To say the least, the move to the Chase Center has been rough. In the last 7 games, I should say, KD injured and gone. Klay tore his ACL. Then there were 2 blowouts, 40-point loss and home opener to the Clippers. And then later, a win against the Pelicans, but their 3 starters were out. And then Steph injured, and then yesterday against the Charlotte Hornets, D'Lo and Draymond were both out, and they both have injury problems. There are young players all over the floor. New two-way players are stepping up. It's been quite of a turnaround, to say the least, for the Warriors. Steph is out for 3 months with a broken hand, and now it may seem that they're going in a direction that we're not used to in the past 5 years, which is tanking. So, Nate, what should they do now that Steph Curry is out? Should they wait and try to make for a push for a playoffs, hold out D'Lo, Draymond, and Steph, or try to win and play them?
I say the move is tank. I say the best way that the Warriors can get help for the future when everyone's gonna be healthy next year is get a talented rookie. There's a bunch of big men, defensive-minded players who can step up. Players like James Wiseman out of Memphis, Denny Advija, a great defensive-minded power forward from Israel, or Jalen Smith, the center from Maryland. All of these guys can step up big time for the Warriors, provide good defense and post scoring, which is something that has been hurting the Warriors. But I think with all these two-way players and just young guys, I think Steve Kerr will know what to do. Pascal has been stepping up big time. I've become a big fan of him. Got 25 points last night against the Hornets.
28 against the Suns.
Yeah, he's having a great season. And also D'Angelo Russell. He was out last game, but he's been playing pretty well this season. Is he looking like how much we paid him? Not really, but still, I think he's having a good season.
I'm going to take the other side. I think they can still push for a 7 or 8 seed. So, D'Lo last year led the Nets to the playoffs, and he didn't have a lot of pieces there, and I think he can do it here.
Not like he has any pieces here.
He has Green, and Curry's coming back. Curry's going to be back before the end of the season. I think they can push for an 8 seed with D'Lo leading the charge, and then I think Curry's going to come back. That's a big
bulk of the season that they're not going to have any starts besides D'Lo and Draymond.
I think here's the thing, right? So D'Lo, first of all, is day-to-day with an ankle injury. But I think the second thing that I kind of like your comparison to the Nets, because the Nets had guys who had
rejects.
Chip on their shoulder. Spencer Dinwiddie traded. Karis LeVert, a good young player, but he was injured on and off. Jared Allen dropped in the draft. Joe Harris passed around the league. Man. The Warriors have those types of players where they have Willie Cauley-Stein,
Glenn Robinson III, Alec Burks.
Exactly. I like that comparison, but then you have to kind of
also keep in mind that the Warriors are in the Western Conference.
Exactly.
You have some solid teams that competing for an 8th seed. That would be probably 4 or 5 seeds in the East. T-Wolves.
The team that I'm scared about the most is the Mavericks with the Luka and Porzingis combination, but also, even though they were a 6th seed, they were in the East, and they were actually 40 and 42.
Yeah.
Which people don't realize. People say, they were the 6th seed in the East, but the East and the West, the comparison between very different. So I think actually this is kind of a blessing in disguise, because I think with Steph is a different player without Klay, and I think it might be fair to bring up the argument of why Klay should be the top shooting guard in the league over James Harden, because he's such a great all-around player. That's for another time. But I mean,
wow,
that's a hot take right there.
Klay Thompson over Harden.
I can see where you're coming from. He's a great 3-and-D player. He can shoot the 3, plays great defense. But James Harden is one of the best scorers we've ever seen.
Who got more wins? Klay Thompson. I'm just gonna put that out there. I feel like the win total. Klay Thompson,
Shooting guards are not known for the defense. They're known for getting the ball in the hoop. Harden does that perfectly.
I think
Harden got more wins for the Rockets than Klay got for the Warriors.
Yeah,
I think we're gonna see that. That's my point. That this year we're gonna see that because Klay's never been out. Klay's been the most durable player in the whole NBA.
Yeah.
We've never seen him out. We've seen James Harden out, and we've seen the Rockets struggle. We've never had that comparison. I think with these, even if it's a small sample size with 3 games, I think defensively we can see and offensively the Warriors are just a different team because with Steph.
Only 87 last night against the Hornets.
Only 87.
But it's the Hornets, and they don't have that marquee star. But against the Clippers, 141. Against the Pelicans, which had 3 starters out, 122. I think defensively, the Warriors are a way different team. Even with Draymond in, Klay I think, adds another. And also the other thing, Steph Curry.
I still think Klay's the best defensive guard in the league.
No,
him and Paul George.
So I was talking offensively, how they only scored 87 points against the Hornets. I still feel like you need to be scoring.
Yeah,
points.
because they gave up 97 points against the Hornets, but they gave up like 140 against the Clippers.
Also, to your point, offensively, when Steph comes off the screen, that's a great concept. But unlike any other player in the league, he has 2 or 3 people on him. You can see that right away. Mm-hmm. And it's so hard for Steph to maneuver, and that's why I think D'Lo is kind of an interesting fit because D'Lo is not an off-ball guy. Klay, I would say, is one of the best off-ball guys.
Yeah.
He can come off the screen.
Totally.
He doesn't need to bring it down. He just shoots it as soon, if he can shoot from here, up. And I think that's what the difference with Klay is that with Klay, you have easy offense. You can just give him the ball. If he's hot, he's hot. He can make his own shot. With D'Lo, it's more pick-and-roll offense. He goes a little slow.
But he's also a little bit more consistent than Klay because when Klay's having an off night, he's having an off night.
That's true.
Like D'Angelo's usually like the guy that's averaging like solid. We saw this in Brooklyn last year. Solid 20 points a game. We saw that for Klay. Klay's ever going for 35 or 10.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Like D'Lo's 20 points a game is 21, 19, 20. 23, 17. He's in that range every
Clay's
time.
20 points per game, which are all over the spectrum.
Clay's 50, then 0.
I will point this out, though. In the plus or minus, which I love, it's index.
Yeah. Great stat.
Klay is always on the plus side in D'Lo. Even with 30 points against the in the last game he played, he was -6. So I think defensively, D'Lo also makes a bit of. He knows that himself as well. Like defensively, he's
not as good as Klay.
Yeah.
I feel like it's hard to compare this year's D'Lo on a terrible Warriors team compared to Klay's plus-minus and Curry and KD.
And I think that's where it can help them, right? So I'll put this next question out there. What about trade bait, right?
Yeah.
We can trade him in December.
Yeah, we can
and
totally
if D'Lo plays up to par, maybe I don't know if anyone will bite on that, but it might be worth it.
I think a couple of suitors would be like Timberwolves. I think
I
they would make him
going to the Timberwolves.
I could see him going to the
is not a great.
There are a lot of teams. I think D'Lo's such a young player that
he's still like what 24.
Yeah, he's very young.
He's very young.
He's very young. Yeah. No, this is a very interesting season for the Golden State Warriors, and it's pretty fun to watch.
I do have to say it's. Let me just say it's not a great way to open up like the best arena in the NBA. I've gone there multiple times for concerts. It's incredible.
That's all I've heard.
It's incredible.
That's all I've heard. Yeah. Okay, let's move on to our first prediction segment, to a little bit of a brighter side, the winners for the NFL. NFC and AFC, we have 2 divisions of the NFL, and the AFC might seem a little bit obvious. In the NFC, there are a lot of teams. Honestly, the NFC reminds me of the Western Conference, and the AFC reminds me of the Eastern Conference. A little bit of parallel between the NFL and the NBA. But, guys, who's making it atop the NFC, and who's making it atop the AFC?
I'll start with the AFC. I think the Patriots, it's a little bit of a no-brainer this year. Mahomes injured, so I still think the Chiefs will make the playoffs easily. I think now we have a huge game tonight as we're recording. We have Sunday Night Football tonight, Ravens Patriots. I think this is going to be a
Patriots true test.
Yeah, I think this is going to be probably the hardest game the Patriots have to play.
Oh, easily.
Because they play in the easy conference, in an easy division.
Okay, so they have a huge game tonight. I feel like this is we're going to see both teams tested, and I think this is going to be the AFC champ game. I think it's going to be Ravens Patriots. I think the Patriots will win and move on to the Super Bowl.
The thing that's interesting about the Patriots to me is that we're always talking about the offense. It's always like Tom Brady.
year's defense.
This year's defense is the best Patriots defense that we've ever seen. Like, might I remind you, the Patriots went 16-0 back in 2007 or whatever.
And that's what I love so much about this team because you always know what
You always know the offense is good. It's just about
Exactly.
defense.
With Tom Brady,
that's the variable.
With Tom Brady, you're never out of it. You're never out of it.
No, the interesting thing to me about the Patriots, it's always a new team every year. It's never like the
Yeah,
same
it's never like the same.
It's always like guys going in and out. Like
Amendola's gone.
Amendola's gone.
Josh Gordon out.
Gordon's
We'll talk
gone.
about that a little later. Yeah. All right. What about the NFC now?
I'm gonna go with the Seahawks. I know everyone here in the Bay Area is like Niners are 8-0, easy. We going to the Super Bowl. I don't see that happening. I think it's a young team. Jimmy G has
Not a lot of
no
playoff
playoff experience. Has he ever played it?
Deflategate, not really.
But that was the start of the year. He never played
Yeah,
that
that's right.
postseason, and no one on that team like D Ford has playoff experience on the defense.
The guy
Two
with the
players.
most. No. Richard Sherman has more playoff.
Yeah.
experience.
Sherman has playoff experience, but on that offense, no one really has playoff experience. Breeders and
It's all
Coleman,
young- it's all young offensive
young guys,
linemen.
and I just even Coach Shanahan has not coached in the playoffs.
Whoa! He was the offensive coordinator in that Falcons Super Bowl team.
He's
Yeah.
gone. He's gone far. I mean, Shanahan also has his dad, Mike Shanahan, who's won multiple
Super Bowls.
Super Bowls.
But
So he's
still,
been around that.
I think I'm gonna take Seattle. I think in the champ, I see the Niners going to a champ game, but I see them running into the more experienced Seahawks team, and I see a rematch.
I think
Seahawks Patriots.
I think the Monday night game next week between Seattle and Niners is going to tell a lot about how this NFC is going to fold out because it's looking like 2013 again. It
Yeah.
looks to be Niners and Seahawks. The question is, it's kind of like the opposite because now the Niners have the best defense, like the best defense in the NFC, and now the Seahawks have that like fun to watch, explosive offense led by MVP candidate Russell Wilson. I think it's gonna be interesting this year. I've got the Niners just because that's incredible defense, and as they say, defense wins championships.
So you have Niners Patriots Super Bowl.
I think.
Yeah.
I would agree.
But I still think there's some other contenders.
And I'm here for the Seahawks Niners matchup. I think for the next like 2 or 3 years we're going to see it. For Niners will obviously it'll be a little bit longer because Russell Wilson is getting older and Jimmy G is younger. But I think within the NFC,
What about
I think
the Saints.
the Saints is an
Packers,
interesting one.
Cowboys, all interesting.
Yeah, NFC's there's gonna be. The
mean,
playoffs,
let me-
yeah,
let me-
NFC size.
Let me tell you, one player on the Niners has made a huge difference on them this year, and because of his health, is Richard Sherman. And also, kudos to Richard Sherman. It seems like every team he
Great.
goes to, like with
Great
the Seahawks, he was winning, and now with the Niners, he's winning. But I think Richard Sherman and Nick Bosa, those two players have made such a big impact
Yeah,
on this
Nick
team.
Bosa's been
as a rookie,
amazing.
he's a defensive player for you.
And I think, honestly, as far as the experience, I'm not too worried. I take the example of my Philadelphia Eagles. I see a lot of similarities between these two teams. Defensive line is really nice. I
front
would
seven
say
in general.
it's really nice. I think it could make the argument for the best in the NFL.
Yeah, it's the best front seven in the
Now,
NFL. I've said
I don't know
time
if they
and
have
time again.
enough for the Packers. The Packers' defense is amazing, but both of the teams have played pretty easy opponents. I'll say that in the first.
Niners back half's looking tough. They have
That last four: Saints, Falcons, Seahawks, and Rams.
yeah. So
tough.
they play the Seahawks twice, the Ravens, and then as you said, Rams.
Oh, that Ravens game. That's gonna be a
Ravens
good game.
game's gonna be
Packers as
huge.
well. They're playing.
It's gonna be pretty interesting.
hard
They have a
back,
tough
hard,
second
hard
half.
back eight for the Niners.
Okay, so let's move on to three things. The NFL will be really interesting. I
Yeah,
mean,
this is gonna be one of the best playoffs we've seen in a while.
Okay, let's talk about three things. So three things, and we'll pick one. We'll talk about one each. First thing is Josh Gordon is now a Seattle Seahawk, which will help their case to win the NFC crown. But Russell Wilson also wanted Antonio Brown, which is interesting because he filed a grievance against the NFL, and he has his little thing going on with the NFL. But it's interesting that Russell Wilson wanted Antonio Brown on his team. Second is Jamal Adams and the Jets. And in classic Jets fashion, they managed to screw up trade deadline and bring all the rumors, and Jamal Adams is mad at the GM. Third is the Cat, Karl Anthony Towns from the Minnesota Timberwolves, and Joel Embiid fought, and they have beef now, and it's pretty funny. We'll start off with you.
I want to talk about Jamal Adams. He is probably the most talented, if not the best.
Young.
He's the best safety in the NFL right now. I
Young,
would say.
too.
Yeah, he's really young, 23, 24. great product out of LSU. But the Jets put him on the market. They put him on the trade block, and they were like, hey, anyone interested? Half the league was. They had a lot of teams giving offers, many of them including first-round picks. And the interesting thing is, like, what the Jets asked for a guy who's still on his rookie contract, nothing that incredible. I'm going to give you an example with the Dallas Cowboys. They asked for Zach Martin or Tyron Smith, guys who are on massive, multi-year, long contracts. And Dallas said, no way, I'm not going to do that. Which, I mean, if you look about
I
it.
understand it. The other rumor actually was out there was first-round pick and a fourth-round pick. And apparently the Cowboys weren't ready to give up that.
The best offer that from what I read from Ian Report is that the best offer that the Jets got from the Cowboys was first-round pick and reserve corner Anthony Brown.
Oh, okay.
And then it was also,
that's not a bad deal.
But no, listen to this. Baltimore is also another favorite to land him. Imagine that team: Marcus Peters, Jamal Adams, and Earl Thomas at safety.
Yeah,
that could have given them the shot to win the AFC.
Then if that would have happened, then it's fair to put them in the conversation.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I'm going to stay with the NFL. I'm going to go with Josh Gordon to Seattle. But what I really want to focus on is Russ. We all know the AB saga. We went over it on the MC Sports Presents show. That's crazy.
Heated.
Yeah, but Wilson pushes for him. I just don't understand that. He said he doesn't want to play. He came in and ruined the Steelers.
Well, he's also just a horrible dude. Like, I don't know how you can support a man. He's made so many idiotic
choices.
So many. Like, time and time again. He's been given a second, third, and fourth chance. And we all know what happened with the Raiders. Then he went to the Patriots and looked very good with them. He's still a
talented. He's still one of the top receivers in the NFL, even if he doesn't have a job.
I understand it from that perspective that he wants a good receiver, but I still feel like Russell Wilson's a good guy, and I don't think. And I
Tyler
think
Lockett's a solid receiver that he has
and
there.
Gordon, and now he got Gordon.
Is having a great receiver year.
And so I agree with Pete Carroll in the front office not to pick up AB. Just say, Wilson, we respect you. We'll get you Gordon, but we're not picking up AB.
We already have a talented enough team.
Yeah, we have a talented enough team, and we're not trying to deal with him.
I think that's a great move by Seattle. Josh Gordon's gonna. I'm so glad for Josh Gordon. Well. I'm supporting him.
Like getting another shot.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what the Pats did there, but all right, I'm gonna talk about the Cat and Embiid beef. Honestly, to me, it's kind of funny because it's like two petty centers fighting. I don't even know what they're fighting over. It's just like in game it happened. Cat was asked about it before the game, and he said no comment on it. He said he's not worried about it. But then all of a sudden they start fighting during the thing. Gladly no punches were thrown. No one got injured. Simmons did hold him in a headlock.
And didn't get suspended.
They didn't get suspended or fined. Cat and Embiid both got suspended for 2 games.
But honestly, it's not a smart thing for both players because both players are franchise cornerstones for their team. They can't afford to get suspended, especially for Cat, because in the West, 2 games matters a lot.
But he was bailed out a little bit last night. Timberwolves did win last night in his first game of suspension against the Wizards.
Okay. But still, they're lucky they won. He has to be a little careful because I think the next fight, because they're going to meet again, next thing anything happens, it's going to be more repercussions.
It's definitely going to be more than a 2-game suspension.
We're going to be seeing an SB Nation beef history on that one. I already know they promised that.
Anything to add for that?
I'm just surprised that the league did not do anything with Ben Simmons because he arguably did the worst thing by getting Karl Anthony Towns in a headlock.
And he was laughing about it too afterwards.
Hey.
Yeah, all right, let's move on.
I guess they want to see him take a 3-point shot. Yeah. So.
Let's move on to the MLB World Series. It was a very entertaining one. It went to 7 games. The Nationals took it, and they came back from down 3 games to 2. Even the Astros Nationals took an early lead, then the Astros came back, and then the Nationals came back. It was kind of back and forth. I know Kieran enjoyed it, so we'll have you start. What are your thoughts on it?
So I did watch every game. I was all into this World Series. Yes, I was sad Jose Altuve did knock my Yankees, out on that 2-run home run, but it was still the World Series. And a cool thing about this was, for the first time in the NHL, NBA, or MLB, the visiting team won every single game of a 7-game series. So the home crowd never had anything to cheer about. But what a series for the Nationals. They're the oldest roster in the MLB and the oldest World Series roster ever to win a World Series. They, like, Rodney's 40, Zimmerman,
Strasburg
and Scherzer getting up there. So Ryan Zimmerman was the first ever draft pick of the Washington Nationals when they were an expansion team in 2005. So that's great for him.
Yeah, great stuff.
Yeah, he, in his 15th year, finally gets the ring. It was just a great series. Strasburg wins MVP and then opts out. And so I don't see this becoming a dynasty because Rendon's a free agent and so is Strasburg. Scherzer's getting old.
No, this is not a dynasty. This is just a one-year thing. But it's definitely proving. They now have proven. Excuse me.
Juan Soto though is amazing.
Oh yeah, he's a great player. Next with that World Series, he's become a household name. But what the Washington Nationals prove is that you don't need like incredible outfield guys playing in the field. You just need a great starting pitching rotation to get you all the way to the.
I mean, it's crazy to beat Verlander twice and Cole.
I know.
Once. That was something else.
Yeah, it's just a great story for Washington. They were underdogs all the way. This is a World Series that I was really excited for. Going in, this is what I wanted the most. I wanted to see a Nationals versus Astros series just because it's two great, arguably the best pitching rotations in baseball.
Easily.
Yeah.
There's like them two,
yeah,
and then there's
the rest, you know. And, hey, Bryce Harper was right. They did bring a title back to D.C.
I want to bring a title back to D.C.
I'll put a little bit of different take on this because I'm pretty sure you guys covered most of it, the general things. Game 7 was exciting. It was a 7-game series. Last time we saw this was when?
2016, Cubs-Indians.
Cubs-Indians. And that one was
one of the best series that I've ever seen.
Regardless of this being a heavyweight battle, right, between the Astros and the Nationals.
Wasn't a heavyweight battle because you could have had like the Braves or the Dodgers represent.
But I think the two pitchers for both sides, those are like the best, right?
Yeah,
I would say
that's why I think it was like the best series that could have happened.
And I think regardless of that, this was the lowest MLB World Series ratings ever, 14 million only tuned in the midst of NBA opening week and NFL's popularity. It's kind of interesting to note where MLB is heading altogether. There's been a lot of talk as of late in the past 3 to 4 years of it's too long, they've got to shorten it, playoffs are too long, and whatever. The season's too long, all the stuff. So I think it might be interesting to see what MLB does because this was the lowest since 2014.
Playoffs are pretty short, especially compared to NBA.
I'm talking about the season. Sorry, my bad.
A couple things I want to say about that. About shortening the games. I mean, the IPL did that with cricket, and it worked really well. Now that's become like the big league for cricket. It's getting a lot of viewership, a lot of money's flowing in.
But I just want to ask you like real quick. How would you cut down the games? Like make it a 7-inning game?
6 innings, I'd say.
6 innings and make it, 182, right? Or something like
162.
162. Make it like
100
or even 90.
Yeah.
Like no one, I don't think anyone.
You don't want to. It's not only bad for viewership, but it's just bad for the players' mental health. You know, it's just it's a lot of just going in and
back
out,
and forth,
in and out, same cities every single week. You know, it's just really bad for the mental health. And it's not. You talked about like low viewership. It wasn't that they were small markets. It wasn't like Milwaukee versus like Seattle or Tampa Bay. It was like Washington, the capital, the nation's capital, and Houston, one of the largest metropolises in the United States.
Yeah. So that's why I thought. That's why I thought it was pretty interesting that happened.
The whole state of Texas was backing up Houston.
Yeah, and also
that's not true because Rangers fans hate.
Well, I mean, okay,
Houston.
I know
we can get into it, but I think it's also interesting for Washington. Shout out to Washington. They had the WNBA team win, NHL team
win,
and
this
now.
is huge.
I mean, they were pretty. They haven't won
and
a title.
The Eagles maybe.
They hadn't won like a title since like.
I mean, Redskins.
They hadn't won a title since like the late 70s with the Redskins, I think.
Yeah.
In major leagues.
Okay, that does it for our MLB topic. Let's do the last wrangle, 1 minute.
So I'm going to stick with the MLB. We have a great free agent class, one of the best I've ever seen, with 3 guys who played in this World Series with Cole, Strasburg, and Rendon. I think Garrett Cole is going to go to New York. They're one of the big suitors. They have the money, and their rotation
They
is
always have
garbage.
the money, for crying out loud.
Their rotation is garbage. Strasburg, I see him going to Philadelphia. I think he's going to stay in the division.
Pull the Bryce Harper.
Go with Bryce Harper, and that rotation could be bolstered also with Aaron Nola and Jake Arrieta at this point.
And they still have the money. They have money.
They still have the money. Harper wasn't all of it. And then Anthony Rendon, I'm going to say he re-signs. No one's saying that, but the Nationals have the money, especially because they don't have to re-sign Strasburg. They have a lot of people, like Soto. They don't have a lot of big contracts to repay. I think they're going to re-sign their cornerstone third baseman. And then my favorite player, Didi Gregorius, a free agent from the Yankees. I really hope they re-sign him, but he might be going back to Cincinnati.
All right, real quick.
Let me talking about a friend of Sports Sit Down, Hannah Jump. Ooh, gotta love Hannah Jump. She had last night. She had 7 minutes of play with 100% shooting, including a 3-pointer, 7 points, 1 rebound, and an assist. And this is all against Team USA, the most dominant basketball team in the world, I'd say right now. And she's doing us proud here at MC Sports in the Sports Sit Down. She also got 15 minutes in an exhibition game against a team from Beijing, and she's just doing well.
We wish her well.
And we wish her to get more playing time.
Yeah.
Vanderveer, get her in there.
All right, so for me, I'm going to talk about the slow NFL trade deadline. It's kind of interesting that the NFL trade deadline wasn't as good, and you hinted at Jamal Adams not being traded to the
You saw
Cowboys.
Jalen Ramsey getting moved around. That
I
was
mean,
some big moves.
I would
That
say
was it. Like, that was the headline.
okay, we had
There
two big
wasn't
moves,
much.
right? Jalen Ramsey and Marcus Peters, and maybe like Kenyon Drake, unless I'm missing something else. I didn't really see that many big moves
Akeem
as
Talib got traded, right?
the rumors might have indicated. Even on the trade deadline day, Tuesday, there was one trade, Akeem Talib to Miami. It was kind of a dead trade deadline, and again, I'm going to stick with my same topic of where the NFL might be moving. We might be headed in a place where it's kind of like a headlock where no team wants to come out and look like really dumb out of the trade deadline. Because there have been a lot of GMs that have fleeced/finessed a lot of other NFL GMs, like the Seattle Seahawks with Jadeveon Clowney or something.
I think just like NFL outside of games is just really boring compared to the NBA, because like NBA trade deadlines is giant spectacle with like household names getting moved around like boxes. It's and then
Even
obviously
the
free agents,
MLB's
even free
trade
agency
deadline
is
better.
Yeah.
MLB trade deadline's not great, but it's still better than the NFL.
NBA free agency is like is spectacle. That's
And
incredible.
honestly,
in the
I'd
offseason.
argue-
What's NFL's?
I'd argue that NBA is probably going to become the most popular league.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
I would agree
It's
with
going to
that.
be NFL with this new generation. Okay, that does it for our show. Thank you for tuning in. I'm so glad you're able to watch our episode of Sports Sit Down for Nate, Kieran, and Sunay. We'll see you next time. Take care.